possibly have any idea what's going on. Because no American president entrusted with the safety and well-being of the United States and her citizens would purposely empower cartels, would purposely empower illegal organizations to harm American citizens for profit, to flood our streets with dangerous fentanyl and narcotics, to cause high-speed chases like the ones that have occurred in the district I represent, where Americans get endangered, the murder of Americans through wide-open borders. No American president would purposely do that, would they? No American president would purposely lie to immigrants and cause them to get raped and abused on long, dangerous journeys across the desert upon the promise of amnesty for crass political purposes. No American president would possibly do that, would he or she? No American president could be so callous, so indifferent to the lives of Americans and the immigrants who seek to come here that he would allow his staff and the Secretary of Homeland Security to lie repeatedly to the American people that there is no crisis at our border. No American president would do that, so no American president could know that this is happening and take that position, could understand what is happening and then ignore it, could understand what is happening at the border and then deny it and encourage it through reckless policies. No, that guy who runs that outfit over there cannot possibly know what is happening at our border, because no American president would do that. But I assure you, we Texans know. Our neighbors in other border states know. And the American people across the country affected by this crisis know. We see it every day. The brutal conditions along a border ravaged by the deceit, the lies of politicians governing by soundbite and pretending they are compassionate. We do see it every day. Who is this that I am showing here on the floor of the United States House of Representatives? This is the Vargas family. I've come to know Lori, I've come to know other members of this family because Jared, depicted in this picture, was murdered by a colleague at a restaurant who was in this country illegally, who had been caught, let go, caught, let go, caught again, let go, and then murdered Jared. He's from San Antonio, Texas, which I represent. This is real. This happens every day. And we in Texas are on the front lines while the people in this body fiddle and endanger the lives of American citizens to prostrate themselves to a crass political left who could care less about the American citizens getting killed or raped. And they do it for political purposes. It's the arrogance of leftist Democrats destroying our own nation with trillions of dollars of spending. Reckless disregard of our energy independence and strength, reckless disregard of the small businesses getting destroyed by shutdowns, the livelihoods destroyed while peddling fear and panic. The reckless disregard of our children as their futures are destroyed by teachers' unions and the devastating masking of their innocent faces. The reckless disregard of our fundamental unalienable rights to worship, to speak freely, to defend ourselves with firearms, to pursue happiness by working to provide for our families. The reckless disregard for our safety while defunding police and attacking our rights to defend ourselves under the Second Amendment at the same time. Done on this floor today. The reckless disregard for our national security while empowering China to undermine our way of life. The reckless disregard for public health as we join the very World Health Organization that lied to us to protect China. But perhaps the most reckless by my leftist Democratic colleagues is the arrogance of using crass political selfishness to encourage parents to send their children to be raped, abused, to ride on train cars, and even die along dangerous journeys, while simultaneously facilitating or encouraging the destruction of our neighbors to the south, in Mexico, Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras. It's happening in real time, and it is an extraordinary arrogance for purposes of crass political gain or perceived gain. Our neighbors in the South lament the mass exodus of their people under the lies and the false compassion being sold from American Democrats. This is the truth of what we're dealing with. Let's talk about some of the real issues going on our border. Uvalde, Texas. The mayor, Don McLaughlin, has said the 2019 border crisis will look like a cakewalk to what is coming with Biden's border crisis. He said they are seeing 10 to 12 high-speed chases each week with speeds up to 105 miles an hour. The local government has to take it on the chin because this administration refuses to secure the border. That is a mayor in Uvalde, Texas, just outside of the district I represent. My friend, Mr. Gonzalez, represents that district. Don calls me all the time saying, where's the help? Where is the federal government whose job it is to secure the border of the United States? You know where it is? Nowhere to be found. And in fact, actually found at a border, making it worse for the citizens of this country, making it more dangerous, purposefully or incompetently, either one unacceptably, endangering the lives of Americans and the immigrants who seek to come here. Del Rio Mayor Bruno Lozano, I'm pleading and requesting you to please put a halt to any measures regarding the release of immigrants awaiting court dates into the city of Del Rio and surrounding areas. Madam Speaker, the American people are pleading with their leadership. They are begging for the people in this body, the people's house, to recognize what is happening to them. It's real. People bury their head in the sand up here, protected by fences with razor wire, walking through magnetometers, tweeting out how they somehow compare or have compassion for immigrants. Look at us. And this, in this photo, is what is happening to immigrants in South Texas. There are mass graves where cartels kill people along the Rio Grande. There are people dying in the desert, seeking to come here like any normal person would do around the world, seeking to come to the United States of America, but being fed irrational hope from an administration for political purposes, endangering lives of immigrants and American citizens. Yuma, Arizona, Mayor Douglas Nichols, I am urging the federal level for additional resources for United States Customs and Border, the need for more space at migrant holding facilities that will allow for adherence to CDC guidelines, more COVID testing. There is no capacity in our current nonprofit system in Yuma. Our colleague, my friend from Texas, Mr. Cuellar, has said that thousands of migrants have not been tested. Over 10,000 people have come in through the lower Rio Grande Valley. Quote, those folks aren't being tested. There are folks, my friends on the other side of the aisle, who recognize what's happening. My colleague, Mr. Gonzalez, sent a letter to Biden requesting a meeting stating, quote, it is imperative we get this situation under control or we are looking at another crisis on our hands. Well, that crisis is here. Citing the large number of unaccompanied children and increased hospital admissions. This is happening right now. Where is the president? Where is the Homeland Security Secretary? Where is anyone in this administration recognizing the crisis at our border, the death toll, the impact on citizens and immigrants who seek to come here? Texas State Senator Chuy Hinojosa, a Democrat, quote, I don't think, quite frankly, the Biden administration was aware of what's happening on the ground here. which you can understand because they're just coming in and trying to get people up to speed with what's happening. But I don't think they were aware there were that many coming across. The Border Patrol is overwhelmed. They're throwing their hands up because they don't know what to do. That's all my Democrat friend from Texas. CBP has already encountered nearly 400,000 illegal immigrants since October, and the numbers are rising. For context, in the first 5 months of fiscal 2020, CBP encountered 200,000. That's twice as many this year. Twice as many. What changed? The administration's absurd, embarrassing, incompetent, or worse yet, purposefully malicious policies. Just last month, February, CBP encountered over 100,000 aliens at the border. 1 month. That's who they encountered. That's not gotaways. Guys, y'all, this is real. Come do like I've done and go spend the night on the border. Go sit down at the river at the Rio Grande. Talk to the immigrants. In my case, in broken Spanish, if you're fluent, talk to them or have somebody can and talk to them about why they're coming. Talk to them about what the cartels are doing to them. Have a conversation with a young man like I did last year about the pack of girls behind him, about whether they were abused on the journey, and he said, "Sí." Or just continue to bury one's head in the sand and pretend it is compassionate to have open borders. Because that's what's happening today in the people's house. These are human beings, y'all. Leave that down. As of last month, the number of families encountered is the highest since January 2019. In January, 7,200, almost 7,300 family units were encountered. In February, that number skyrocketed to 19,246. That's not an accident. These are families. Encounters with what we call UACs, unaccompanied alien children, increased 74% year to date. Just last month, some 6,000 migrants aged 16 and 17 were caught. The Department of Homeland Security currently projects there will be 117,000 unaccompanied child migrants crossing the border this year. The number of migrant children is on pace to exceed the all-time record by 45%, and the administration does not have enough beds. The Biden administration needs another 20,000 beds to shelter the minors. Now, I have a couple of friends here, a couple of colleagues who I think are waiting to join. As a gentleman from California looking to add a few remarks, my friend from California, I will yield to you in just 1 minute, and then my friend from Virginia after him. But what I would say, when we're talking about these numbers, people get lost in the numbers. We see 20,000 beds, we talk about 45% increases. Let's just be very clear. For those of us who spend time on the border, I'm going back on Monday. These are human beings. These are people. They are not political pawns. And that goes for American citizens, and it goes for the immigrants who seek to come here. And this is the dirty little secret. My Democrat colleagues know full well that what's happening at the border, it's going to be a catch and release organization. The Department of Homeland Security is turning CBP into a catch and release organization. So you'll see some of these numbers going down, but don't kid yourself, the American people watching this. When the numbers go down in these facilities, it is because the Biden administration is purposefully catching and releasing folks, whether they've been tested or not, regardless of what kind of security threat they might pose, regardless of fully checking whether a child goes with a family member or not, whether they can be abused, put into the sex trafficking trade, because it is rote incompetence. And when you see those numbers go down, just know what's happening. 11,000 people were caught and released in January and February, immediately caught and released from CBP rather than being put in facilities. I'd love to yield to the gentleman from California.
Colleague from Texas, Mr.